Dig it! Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation.
It's time to join the conversation.
All right, welcome to the Hardheaded Podcast. With me, as always, is Mr. Chet Sears and Mr. Matt Amos. But as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, I am the only one in studio today, and I'm actually in my office. I moved this stuff around.
And you're off on the and as always, too, because Matt's not with us.
That's right. I got Chet here on the phone. You can see him here. And Matt is on vacation. Chet and Matt are both on vacation. They took Independence Week, as Chet calls it.
Not together, though. We're not on vacation together.
They're not together. That would be funny, though. Chet and Matt just took a vacation together. So, so Chet, what do you got planned this week? What are y'all doing? Where are you? What are y'all doing?
We went east to Kentucky. We're on the lake, and it is it's been a lot of fun. We got a little dicey yesterday with the thunderstorm, but we were, I'm in tune. I'm in tune with the weather, and we definitely I noticed that there was a pretty good chance of one of these little afternoon thunderstorms popping up here, and some of the kids were. I told them to secure all the stuff that would blow away, and they didn't. They didn't know why
because your meteorology skills are on point, right?
Yeah, I can just tell. You can't see anything because of the trees, but I can just tell. And so we had some hammocks set up. I'm like, hey, we got to get all the hammocks down. Go ahead and ratchet down the kayaks on the boat dock. And sure enough, about an hour after that, it was the typical lightning crash, thunder, and then the bottom fell out. And then the wind picked up. It was raining sideways. And my nephew was like, Uncle Chet, I'm glad you told us to ratchet that stuff down. I'm like, well, I kind of know
looking out.
Yep.
You saw the storm on the horizon, or you just felt it with your meteorology skills?
Well, here's the thing. On the conditions, you just plan for it, right? Don't assume that things are going to go well, and then when it doesn't, then it's bad. You got to plan for it to be bad, so when it does, it's not a big deal.
Right. It's good advice.
Yeah, take that. Unlike Matt, who didn't plan well to effectively call into this episode recording.
That's right.
But I have to confess, I had it in the calendar, but not today. It was a different day, which that's my bad. But we communicated. You set me straight.
Yeah. So here we are with the recording without Matt, but that's okay. He's busy this week.
Yeah.
We couldn't get us all on the phone, so that's all right. So
heck yeah, fire away. What do you got going on in Wichita?
Man, in Wichita, I am working today because it's a Monday, but tomorrow I'll be celebrating Independence Day with some friends. We got 2 parties to go to. One's a backyard barbecue, and the next one is a backyard meat cook-off with some, and they got a pool back there, so we'll be doing a lot of swimming. So,
well, I'm interested. I'm interested in this, in the meat cook-off.
Well, I say meat cook-off. What I mean by that is the guy that's throwing the party, he's just going to be cooking a ton of meat, and everybody else is bringing a side. So it's not technically a cook-off. So
it's not a competition, because you'd really piqued my interest there.
Right. It's probably more of a meat bonanza, like tons of meat. Any kind of meat that you want to eat is probably going to be there. So, because he's got a smoker and a grill.
I'm game for that.
Yeah, my buddy really likes to, it's kind of a hobby of his to just perfect cooking meat and everything. So.
Yeah. I could be down for that in the testing phase. So I'll taste test everything that you're cooking.
Hey, look, I can see you.
Yeah, I know. Is that better? We have a better connection now?
Oh, yeah, that's good. Look, Look, everyone. It's Chet Sears.
That's right.
There you go.
Coming to you from the front porch of the house here.
That's pretty cool. I'll set that down like that. Whoa. Got my windscreen here. Yeah, so that's what we got going on. Oh, you got your windscreen. Chet
it's
is
a screened-in porch. It's
Chet's
really
in
nice.
a screened-in porch there in North Carolina. That's pretty cool.
No, I'm in Kentucky.
Or Kentucky, and you can see Tennessee.
Right. That was Tennessee that you just saw.
Oh, wow.
If you're looking on video.
That's wild.
Yep.
Wild stuff. Yeah, so what festivities y'all planned tomorrow? Y'all renting a boat or something?
Yeah, so we've got we rented a pontoon boat for a couple days, and we get that tomorrow. It's going to be an adventure because shopping for all the deals. That we're next to two marinas, and they had pontoon boat rentals like right here in our little cove that we're staying in, and but they're not the boats that we wanted. We want to get a tri. There's 11 of us, right? So we want to get a Tritoon. We want to get something that's more than 22 feet.
Yeah.
And we wanted to get something with a pretty big engine on it. And there's the local places here right next to us were all 40, 60 horse motors and like 22 foot pontoons without the third one. And so I found a pretty good deal, actually a really good deal when you consider I've rented pontoon boats like on Table Rock. I could get 2 days here for 1 day on Table Rock, which is pretty cool. But it's up the lake, and we're on Kentucky Lakes. It's the Cumberland River. I believe that's this one. It's the lane between the lakes in Kentucky. But anyway, it's massive. So the lake itself is like 1.2 miles wide. It's a dammed up river. And we ended up renting a boat. It's like 10 miles. It's like we're going to have to like navigate 10 miles of lake when we pick up the boat tomorrow to get it to our lake house. And then we'll have it for a few days. Then we'll have to go back. And I'm predicting now when this episode releases, I will probably have driven the boat back in a massive thunderstorm with whitecap waves.
You got to get some
watching the weather.
Get some video footage of that for us.
I'm watching the weather, and it's looking pretty testy. It's looking pretty testy that day. So, but we got to have the boat back, right? So
yeah,
we'll see.
Man, we had a storm roll through here this morning in Wichita.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice one.
In search of a deal, I gotta save a few bucks, and next thing you know, I'm gonna die in a thunderstorm on a lake. Who knows?
Well, last summer, didn't you have issues with a boat at Table Rock? Was that last year?
No, like the one that caught on fire.
Man, you got issues with boats.
Yeah.
No, the one that kept filling up with water, right?
No, it was 2 years ago. It was Table Rock, and one of the pontoons had a hole in it. And as the day was going, I just assumed that we had too many people sitting on one side of the boat. And then everybody got out and went swimming, put the anchor out. And I looked back at the boat, and nobody's in it. And that joker is like leaning over big time. And that was so. Then we're burning all kinds of fuel, and it's hard to tow the tube. But when we got back, I called the dude that we rented from. It was a resort that we're staying at where we were renting. I said, "Hey man, this thing's got a hole in it. It's listing pretty bad." And he's like, "Hey, they're segmented. The pontoon has segments in it. So if one of them does have a hole, it's only going to fill up, an eighth of the whole pontoon, and it's not bad. Don't worry about it. Everything's okay." And so he gave me a little bit of reassurance, but then, we pulled it back up. When we got done, we spent the whole day and parked it at the little slip at their boat dock. And that night, I got a call from him. He said, "Hey man, I just picked up this boat. I apologize. It was in bad shape. I'm going to refund half your money, and I got to get this thing fixed." So the next, whatever day it was, I think it was 2 days later, we're leaving. And our boat is parked up at the top of the hill by the office. It's still draining water out of that pontoon. Like it had so much water in it. And they were just letting it, come out of the hole that was there. Naturally, you don't want to make bigger holes just to drain it out quicker. But it had a lot of water. So there's that pontoon issue. Man, this is probably a bad idea because I've been on another one, Griff's. I was borrowing. We were out there fishing at his place, and he had his bass boat in, and he was driving it, and he let me drive his pontoon boat, and that thing caught on fire while we were in it. The motor caught on fire, and the wind was blowing 30 miles an hour. We were about to go get pushed into somebody's pier and catch it on fire, and was a disaster. Maybe I shouldn't be renting pontoon boats with my kids.
Are you getting is it a pontoon boat tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a big old
Oh,
20,
man. This is
24 foot,
disaster.
26 foot with a 150 on it. It could be good, could be bad. We'll see. Time will tell.
Oh, well, hope that storm doesn't roll in until you get it parked. So.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to work out, Troy. It's going to be a monumental. We're going to make memories. Vacation's about making memories.
Well, I hope some of you
gonna make it back.
Some of you have your phones out to catch the footage and the fear on the women's faces as you.
Well, here's the thing: is that it's just going to be me and probably my brother-in-law Joel driving it back. And we won't all be on it because we'll have the boat at the house for 2 days, so we'll just drive it back and then get in the car and come home. So they won't be with us the whole time. So basically, you're going to have to come and salvage my phone from the bottom of the lake if you want to get that video after we go down. But don't do it in a submarine, and you'll end up like that Titanic crew. You end up getting crushed.
That's right, man. That's crazy. They ever find out what happened to those people?
They died instantly. So, you don't know about this?
No, it imploded. I heard it imploded.
Well, it did, but they went for days. Like, we don't know, and it was like the top of the news cycle.
Right.
Everybody's talking about what happened. They only have 96 hours worth of oxygen. They're going to be starved of oxygen if we can't get there and rescue them. And so it's like spent 3 days at the top of the news cycle. Where that's all the national news was talking about. But there's a military guy I follow that did some CIA work as well after he got out of Special Forces. And he was like, there's no way that we as a U.S. government don't know what happened. And basically he was alluding to the sound. We have technology that listens to the ocean, I guess, for approaching submarines and whatever else.
Yeah.
And he's like, we know what happened to that, but we would be able to hear them clicking. We'd be able to hear if it imploded, we'd be able to know because we would have heard it. And sure enough, Troy, that thing, the moment they went missing, that we lost communication with them, they died. Like the whole thing just crushed like a can, due to the pressure. And the Navy knew, but Biden's administration told the Navy they couldn't say, because at the same time, the Hunter Biden laptop text messages were coming out that he was texting about, hey, you got to pay me. I'm sitting here with my dad. All this stuff was happening. And so the administration wouldn't allow the Navy to disclose that we knew that everybody died instantly when we lost communication with them, because they wanted the news cycle to be talking about them missing and not cover the Hunter Biden story.
Oh, God.
And so they came out with it after the oxygen would have run out and said, oh, by the way, we knew 3 days ago that they all died because they wanted the news cycle. So it just goes to show you your news is not keeping you up to date on necessarily what's most important. They're just trying to entertain and being manipulated to entertain you around things that don't matter versus things that do, like a corrupt government. Oh, but I digress. I'm on vacation. I shouldn't be thinking about that kind of stuff.
But this is hard-headed, man. You got to get it off your chest somewhere, right?
Hey, we're practical, but we're also realistic.
That's right.
That's the thing.
That's right. Well, it is that time of the year that we get to celebrate Independence Day with fireworks. And so let's jump right into our top three. We're going to do a top three today of the top 3 fireworks that you go by at the big tent or wherever you get your fireworks.
Yeah.
So, Chet, why don't we start with you? What are your top 3?
So, number 3 is sparklers.
Boom. Good time for everybody. Yeah, I like sparklers.
Here's what, and then, let me, and then that's, you kind of just touched on where my top 3 comes from, like participatory.
Yeah.
I enjoy the local shop where you can go buy it because I want my kids and I want everybody to participate. Even my mom was a huge fan of sparklers. So, like, if we're going to go and buy stuff, and everybody get their hands on something, and it's relatively not dangerous. Naturally, it could burn you, but you're not going to lose a digit or anything like that.
Yeah.
Sparklers. So sparklers, my number 3. It could even be higher on there. Number 2, Roman candles. And I'm a fan of the ones that don't pop at the end. I just like the boom, and then the thing.
Yeah.
And the farther it could shoot, the bigger ones, the better. And I have been known, just so you know, in a former life when I wasn't so concerned about safety, they're fun to shoot at each other, shoot at other things and cars and whatever else with people that you're playing with.
So our old neighbors used to get like a Lowe's paint bucket, or like one of those big blue Lowe's buckets or whatever, and they would fill it with blackjacks and all whistle chasers and all kinds of stuff in it. Fill it about halfway full and then dump it over. And then everybody would stand about 20 feet back and light Roman candles in a line. And they would fire off these Roman candles at the bucket.
That's pretty cool.
To see who could get it in at first. And then it just ignited this whole, fireworks, the mini spectacular thing here in the middle of the street. But
yeah,
it was pretty fun. It was pretty wild and crazy, though.
I'm all about that because, you get, 8, 10, 12, depending on which ones you buy. And so you kind of get it where you're tuned in. And I'm not the kind of guy that sticks them in the ground and walks away. I was when my kids were younger, but now that they're older, hold it away from your body just in case something blows out the back end. But, you can have some fun with that thing. And I'm not recommending that. Don't try this at home, listeners.
Yeah, don't try anything we say on the Hardheaded podcast at home, ever.
And then my number 1, they don't make them anymore. But I think they've been banned. But it's the little bottle rockets. The bottle rocket where the rocket part is the same size as a black cat.
Oh, yeah.
Those. And you can buy them in packs of like 44 or something. They were, and we had a lot of fun with those as kids growing up, because those we would, you'd light them and toss them in a way, kind of underhanded. And then right at the right moment, when the fuse is just about to get in there, and then they would kind of straighten out, then light, and then go. And then we would literally just have a ball shooting those at each other. We were throwing them at each other. Not that accurate. However, we did. And the different, Kansas is different than where we were in Louisiana, Troy, because Kansas, you can only buy fireworks for Independence Day. Like the 4 days leading up and 1 day after is the only time you're allowed to buy them and shoot them. And in Louisiana, they also did it big for New Year's. So all the fireworks stands opened up at, in the middle of the year and then at the end of the year for New Year's. So we would go out, and that's primarily when we would shoot stuff at each other because we're wearing an extra layer of clothes. But I did have a friend who took a bottle rocket up the jacket sleeve, and it blew up at his elbow area. And I'm sure he still has that scar. But other than that, nobody ever got hurt. We just had a lot of fun with it.
Wow. Yeah, my old insurance agent here, State Farm agent here in Wichita, he got I don't remember if it was a Roman candle or something, but something went down his throat a couple years ago, and he was it burned him, and he was hoarse for like a week.
Oh gosh,
and couldn't talk, and like messed up his vocal cords. But he was able to heal, and everything came back. But that's crazy.
That's not a good place to take a firework.
No,
to the face.
Not down the throat. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll speak up for Matt here. He would be laughing at all of us with our silly little wounds from small explosive devices.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yes, he would. Yeah.
All right, man. What's your top 3?
My number 3 would be the little snaps. The things you throw on the ground. And again, that's participation, right? That's everybody can get those and throw them around and throw them at each other, throw them on the ground. They don't hurt. But I like those little snaps or pops or whatever they call them.
Uh-huh.
And then I like they look like a blackjack. They're about, look like a little firecracker. But when you light them, they spin and turn colors. And
I know what you're talking about.
And they make
like a dancing something or other. I've heard.
Yeah, they kind
have
of
different names.
Yeah, they kind of dance around on the ground, but they also have similar ones that shoot up.
Whistling spinners.
Yeah. Is that what
Something
those are
like that.
called? Yeah.
Jumping jacks.
Yeah, and you can throw those and they'll take off and, above the trees and stuff. Those are pretty fun. So that's my number 2.
Yeah.
And then my number 3 is the parachute guys. So you can fire off those parachutes and the kids just love to go chase them, right? So they're taking off.
And in Kansas, that's the thing. Like, you have to come up with some kind of trigonometry formula on exactly how to aim that base into the wind enough to where the parachute guy is going to land in a field that you have access to or a yard that you have access to.
Because
I can't tell you
depending
how many
on the
of those
wind,
shot up and they go across the lake at our neighborhood. I mean, it's a disaster. So yeah, I'm sticking other spent fireworks under the base of one of those parachute guys to try to aim it into the wind enough to, and I'll tell you, I think one of the reasons I like all that you're talking about here, but one of the things that I don't like about everything you're talking about is it leaves something on the ground. Like there's some kind of trash. I don't like about snaps is the paper. And I was just realizing this. It's like, I like those, but then you got to go pick up all that stuff. But I'm thinking with the sparklers, Roman candles, and then the bottle rockets, they don't make those anymore, so I can't have to worry about that. But there's not any cleanup. You're holding the Roman candle when you're done, and you just throw it in the bucket. And you're done. So.
Yeah, I'm always out there the next day, like sweeping up with a broom in the street and cleaning it all up.
What frustrates me is it's typically a south wind in July, and where we are, and the cul-de-sac is down from our driveway, so I get everybody else's trash in my yard. That's one of my frustrations with Independence Day celebrating. I'm not a bah humbug Scrooge kind of guy, but man, that next morning, people clean up their own yards, but if all the stuff that they shot blows into your yard, they don't come to your yard to clean it up.
Right.
You got to do it for them.
Yep. I think Matt had on his list, he had like those little snakes that look like turds.
Yeah.
Little cat turds or whatever.
I'm good for a smoke bomb. I'm good for a smoke bomb too.
Smoke bombs are good too. All the different colored ones. The kids like those, and those are fun. So cool. Well, everybody be safe when you're popping those fireworks this year.
So I had a couple conference calls on Friday, and where I work, we actually have 2 days for Independence Day, so we're like double awesome.
Nice.
Which I think, hey, independence, you get 2 days for Thanksgiving, so 2 days to thank the Lord and 2 days to celebrate independence. And you get 2 days for Christmas, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I think they have their priorities straight. So Friday was our last day. And I did, video conference calls. I was like, everybody hold up your hands and let's all come back with the same number of digits, from Independence Day break. Got a pretty good laugh, but we got to be safe and have all that there. So
yeah, good deal.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw my editor. My editor just walked back there. Yeah.
We're podcasting.
Hello.
She's got a mouthful of. We just made some sausage for breakfast, sausage balls.
Oh,
have you ever
nice.
had those?
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah,
those are
really good.
Fantastic. Well, you want to wrap it up? You want to bring us a good word?
Good word, and I'm not going to use any scripture here because I can't find a Bible passage that says the word vacation. But let me tell you, I think it's important. The time that we have and the vacation I'm talking about is with family, to be able to get away together, create some memories. I've got, my sister lives in North Carolina, and we set out. The first vacation we took with them was 18 years ago, when Stone was 6 months old. They have their firstborn, Davis, is the same age as Stone, a couple months older. And we went down to Pensacola, and they're just in diapers, and we were like, man, we ought to do this. It would be nice because we're going to raise them in different towns. But it would be nice every other summer to try to get together and spend some time together. And we've been able to do that for the most part as they've grown up. And so this is, they're the oldest are in college now, and we still were able to make this work. And that's why we picked Kentucky, is because we both, they started driving west and we started driving east. And from a vacation perspective, this is like right dead in the middle. Not quite from a time perspective, but this is a good place to be. And so making memories, setting that time aside, and having fun. And we've done it on a budget. We've done it where we spent a whole lot of money, and this is actually one of those that's in the middle. Because all we did yesterday was swim in the lake and eat, cook for ourselves here at the house we rented. So it's really important. I think it's really
absolutely.
Like you take your kids camping. Matt's not with us today because they do a summer vacation every summer, and it varies on what week they go. But they actually got Independence Week this year at the cabin that they stay in, and it's in there. I think it's in his wife's family, so they share whichever week they can get. I think it's really important to get out there with kids, and you kind of get yourself in a different mindset as a parent. You relax a little bit more. You let your kids take a little bit more risk than you normally do. Let them go knock themselves out, or why don't you go poke the stick in fire and have some fun, or take the kayak across the bay here and explore, and those kinds of things that typically, I know I'm wired in a way where I'm not like that, but I try to, plan to be like that when we're on vacation, and let the kids enjoy each other, and hopefully let them understand how important this is, so that they can continue doing that with their families as they get older and grow up, and have these moments that you're setting a memory stone in place to. I'm going to look back on that. I'm going to have pictures of that. We're going to have some fun memories, the power going out, all that kind of stuff. We literally sat around in the living room with a candle, and we're telling stories last night. So that kind of stuff isn't going to happen unless you make time to go do it.
Yeah.
So my good word to our listeners is vacation, plan on it, do it, find something that fits in your budget, and make it happen. And it doesn't have to be long, but it should be something that you're going to make some memories doing. A lot of fun.
Yeah. No, that's good. It's a good word. We try to plan to go somewhere every summer, and past 5 years we've gone to Uncle Bob's, but he moved to Florida. Yeah. So it's a little further away. I doubt we'll be making that trip, that journey. But yeah, we're looking to do something towards the end of the summer this year. So
yeah, that's fantastic. And even if it's not the summer, I mean, we've done some good things in the fall too.
Oh yeah,
depending on the weather and what you're going to do. But it's I think it's been important for us, and I think it ought to be important for everybody, and to set something up to go make some memories with the kids and have a good time. So that would be my encouraging good word for our listeners today. And I'm also thankful that we're able to do this. We can work it out amongst all of our busy schedules, and I thank our listeners for bearing with us as we do it as well.
Yep. Thanks for listening. And next week we will all hopefully be back together, barring any pontoon incidents or anything. You be careful out there.
If I'm not dead, I'll be there.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.